Welcome to Clash of Health. Thanks for joining me. I have an Akashic weather report. I actually filmed this earlier today and posted it, but I decided to take it down because there was one thing that came through in the Akash that I've decided to leave out. And it might have just pertained to me, but whatever. However, it was meaning to be portrayed for me personally or for the collective. It just seemed to be a little bit triggering. So I decided to retape the video and leave that section out. And yeah, so that's why I'm retaping this, although you wouldn't know that because I pulled the video, I think, before it had any views. I also mentioned a bit ago that I was going to try to put like a health tip or recipe tip in. This isn't necessarily a healthy one, but it is a modification that you can do in like a pumpkin bread recipe to make it a little bit more healthy. Instead of using canned pumpkin, you can get one of those little pumpkins and use it fresh. Poke some holes in it with a fork, stick it in the oven around 350 degrees for about 45 minutes or so until it softens. Then you take it out, you kind of take off the outer skin, you can take out the innards where it has the seeds, you can toast them, or if you're like me today, I was in a hurry, so I just stuck them in a composted them. I cut the sugar down. You can always cut sugar down to even like a fourth of a cup or less than a fourth of the cup, fourth of a cup, or you could use dates. You can cut up dates instead of sugar and soak them. Or you can use date sugar or coconut sugar, which makes it slightly more nutritious. So I cut the sugar in this. It was like, I want to say it was just like an organic sugar. I don't think it was date sugar, but I cut the sugar down significantly. And here is the pumpkin bread. You can see I ate a little bit of it. It's like parchment paper. I used flax eggs and gluten-free flour and ghee. So that's my recipe tip for the day. And here is the Akashic weather report. Scattering of energies will do you no good. Consolidate resources at this time. Greener pastures are upon you. Find time for peace in your soul and help others cultivate it in their own. So I felt like that was a personal message to me. Solomon's seal, a seal of hope, fortitude. Then it was more of a personal message I'll just skip over. Then I was taken by an ET. It had like a big head. It was a female. It had big blue eyes, a skinny body, to a spaceship. And on the ship, she wanted to show me the controls. I felt uneasy because I'm not really comfortable with ETs, even though they're presenting themselves more and more to me in the Akash. Asked where Jesus was. They said he's not here. I opened my eyes. So I came out of the ship. My consciousness flipped out of it, so to speak. And I was given a visual of Mars and it was barren. And then I did see Jesus. I was tethered to a cord. We flew to the Council of Five. I was told I was a part of this group. The Council of Five in the ET world is mapped as this council of galactic nations, representatives of galactic nations who would like to have peace, and they do intervene on Earth as opposed to the Galactic Federation, which has a non-intervention policy. So I felt like they wanted to intervene on in a positive way, and they wanted me to be like an Earth ambassador to help with this. They told me the plotting on Earth is thickening. Soldiers are marching in red zones. And I didn't in the past know what red zones were. They've come up a couple of times in the Akash. I looked it up. There is a red zone, quote, red zone in France post World War I, which is like barren land that's unusable. and no one's allowed there apparently. Let's see, warfare tomorrow and yestermorrows, the past is being lived out again. Sweets, I smelled the sweet smell of like smoke and burning hay. They said pray, meditate, contemplative, they said do contemplative practices, falsehoods will be made known. And then there was like an Aryan village, and I had to look that up. And apparently that is a blast from the past in like India, and it was a certain type of communal living that was kind of where communists started, but it wasn't communist as we know it in kind of a negative way. It was more like communal communism. That's what I got out of the internet. Then I got the message Bush, like President Bush, period. That was the father Bush. And then Pope John Paul II again. So I felt like there was a connection with Bush and John Paul II, trickery, time bomb, plot. And then I asked, was there an assassination attempt on the Pope? And this came through in the Akash, and they said yes. I had to look it up, and indeed, there was an assassination attempt on the Pope. Of course, it had nothing to do with Bush in our news. I don't know if it really had anything to do with it. It just mentioned his name. But he indeed was president when that assassination attempt occurred. And apparently, from what I could garner in the news stories, he went to Italy after the attempt. People in villages will scatter, I'm told. Then I saw American Indians, like a chieftain from the Iroquois, kinship. I felt like kinship with this American Indian. I saw the grid, the Earth's grid, like a checkerboard, but it was really like a grid, not a board. I was told the lights will flash on and off before it goes dark. Within the darkness, you will be held within the womb of the Divine Mother. Poland came up. Istanbul comes up so frequently, came up. Adriatic Sea. Excuse me, that's come up a few times before. Came up again today. Newfoundland. And I was like, why Newfoundland? And I was talking to my mother after I did this Akashic meditation, and she said that people were flown, to Newfoundland during the when there was a no-fly zone. Apparently, 93 passengers were flown to Newfoundland from the United States, and that there was a whole book about it and how kindly they were treated. So I don't know if it relates to that or something else. But Newfoundland, if you're not aware, is in Canada, I'm pretty sure. Calcutta came up, which is interesting because this Aryan village has to do with Calcutta now. I think it's where Calcutta is. Jericho, which I had to look up, and Jericho is the former name of the city in the West Banks, or it is still a city in the West Banks. The last days are upon you, Atlantis. I see thieves stealing coins of money. Blank zone. I had to look that up. Apparently, that's like a kind of a sci-fi term of hollow realms between time and space. It's time and space, hollow realm practice where you can fortify your ninja abilities. So maybe I'm doing that. Flood zone came up, which I don't know. It's raining here. Maybe it just came up because it's raining. But flood zones, Barnabas apparently was a biblical figure, one of 70 who Jesus sent out in pairs as lambs among wolves. So that was interesting. Calhoun, he was, to look that up, he was a vice president, I think, of Andrew Jackson during the Civil War. He was all about the, especially later in his vice presidency, about the separation of the federal government and states. He was an advocate of slavery and no government, which I thought was interesting. And I almost wondered if it harkened to not, you know, pro-slavery, so to speak, but almost like the separation that we might be seeing between states and the government, as states have maybe some dissension with what's on the agenda of the government. Who knows? They said pray, nothing to do, but pray. And then they also said something else that that's what I'm gonna edit out. The stars are one, they said. It's right. Let's see. Oh, and then it was nighttime and I felt like I could see the stars in the sky. And then the Star of David is protection. The red zone again came up, these barren areas of the planet that potentially could happen if we continue on our current trajectory. And I said, it feels like a landmine here. And they said, yes. Then it was like, no, it was like I was flashed to November and I saw Biden as president and he had a big head and a small body. Then I was flashed back to Hillary Clinton's run against Biden and how she was resigned to the election results, like she understood the depth of politics and was like, oh, well, when she lost. I see Trump like he's lying down. It reminded me of the fate card in a tarot deck. Let's see how. They said the book of life is life-giving knowledge. Then I saw the word gray, and I wasn't sure if it was like seeing things as like a gray, not just black and white, or if it was the grays, like the ET group, that the grays. It feels like neither Kamala or Trump will win when I'm in the records, but I wasn't told this. I questioned civil war. It was like a civil war coming up or civil disobedience. And then I was told one of the candidates will be the definite winner, but that person won't take office. And then I got the message, Polly want a cracker, which I had to look up, well, what does that mean? And it was Polly was trapped. She played along to impress the person she wanted to escape from. Council says to me, this Polly want a cracker. I have unease when I think of the election. Unexpected happenings. I see a snake crawling in mud, waiting for the time to strike. Bipartisan agreement, collusion. Those outspoken outliers will not win. It has to get so perverse before it ends. It ends up waking up those who are most asleep. Like this paradigm has to get so perverse that everyone can wake up to the craziness. The rest of us should stand back and watch. It will be like a light show before the firecrackers end and it goes dark. I'm given a crumpled scroll that says peace treaty. I don't feel that I will be going, oh, Yeah. This is just my own stuff. They tell me to get out of my comfort zone. Let's see. The word macabre or macabre, not good at pronouncing that word, kind of like disaster, or I don't know, it's like death, disaster. Next year, first part feels cold and then feels dry and hot. Different flavor, different beingness between the winter and the spring. Unfathomable plotting behind the scenes. Starlight, stardust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Things will come and they will go. Cycle of life, nature. In the end, nature will stand tall. Treaty, peace treaty, plutonic forces will be needed to arrest changes taking place right now. Feel like I need to leave. This I'm still on, I guess I was still on the Council of Five ship, and I felt like it was time to go. I said thank you and goodbye, and I lowered myself back into my body. So I think what happened was I might have been on the ship with the Council of Five, and I was nervous about it, so I left. And then went and got Jesus, and he kind of put me back, said, yeah, these are your people, you can go there. And then I went back, and then I got this information from the council, and then I got out, and now I'm going to close this Akashic record report. So just to reiterate, I have said this in other videos, but I'm just going to mention it here. I have a process to go into the Akash. I tried to take my time, especially today. I did about a 20-minute meditation. I worked with breath work. I will show you the different types of breath work someday that I do. And I prayed and I chanted, and then I did the invocation and then went in. So I tried to really clear my mind so that I wasn't bringing tags of my own unconsciousness, subconsciousness to the work. But of course, I'm sure it's there, because who knows where this information's coming from. I just know that I'm getting a strong message to share, so I'm doing that. So have a good night. Thanks for listening, or day.